on Beers podcast, where tonight we are going to be, we're back actually live on video here.
Live from the basement.
And this is the second part of our March 20th session.
First day of spring.
First day of spring. Happy spring, everybody.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Welcome to
well out there.
Stratication Resorts.
Yes.
Stratication.
Tomorrow's the first full day of spring.
God damn it. Creature.
That's me.
Gerg, you've been replaced.
Sorry.
Well, we'd like to thank everybody for coming back. It's a lot of fun that we're doing here. We hope you're intrigued.
We are
and
having
more
a blast, and we want to hear from you in the comments.
Yeah, what do you want to put? And especially with this, with video. Like,
how awesome am I?
Who's your favorite guy?
Talk about how awesome I am.
And if I'm wearing the same clothes as I was in the previous episode,
or if my jacket
just
is
because
not
I never change,
I
will never change
You
my
can
clothes
also
ever.
talk about how awesome I am. If you
anything
want,
you want to say,
ladies.
But, mostly about Kane Brewing.
Ladies.
Yeah, what Wiggy's
Kane
really
Brewing.
trying to say is he wants you to send him free beer for life.
Yes, or your phone numbers for all the hot ladies.
Just talk about how awesome I am.
Okay, so I am Flex Ruffus, and we have Strat McCarty here.
Hey.
We have Creature.
Kowalski.
Thank you. And Wiggy.
Woo! My reasons.
We know we.
I thought your name was Pearl.
I choo
Twin brother.
That was my clue.
This is what I learned is the Dublin salute from that David Letterman.
Sleep.
Ah.
That's right. I'm a
It's
Viking.
David Letterman. Speaking of David Letterman,
Go banana.
there was a recent thing he's done with he paired up with U2,
Yeah, Bono on the Edge.
Bono and the Edge, and I
This is-
think if you watch that, freaking great stuff. Yes.
Yeah. No, it was a
How
good,
freaking great is it?
I
I
haven't
watched
gotten all the way through it.
I watched the whole
He's
thing. It
watched
was
the whole
great.
thing.
Yeah.
It was a great.
David Letterman's a good interview. He digs. He throws the right questions out
He
there.
does, and
He
they
gets to
really
hear the right
embraced them,
things.
and he really took in the Irish culture. Like, he went to all the different places in Ireland, and I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but I feel like he did something that's very much that he didn't want to do, but he did it.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Did you want to go to Ireland?
No, it's something in Ireland, like, I don't know if I would want to do what he did.
You-
But he did it at the end, and it was pretty funny to see.
He's a millionaire. You don't want to travel. He wants to stay
No,
home.
no, I don't
wants
think
to
he
sit
did
in his
because
He
home.
owns an
Marty
indie
Stone?
race car team.
Yeah,
And he was also wearing
a.
He was wearing a like a wool cap, like the Edge, and like the Edge was like, "You're stealing my look."
He owns Paul,
It's pretty
he
funny.
owns Paul Newman's Volvo.
But
Is that like a cider?
No, it's got an IndyCar engine in it, basically.
So a cider.
It's the coolest car in the
yeah,
world.
I don't know if you've ever watched any of those David Letterman interview shows that he's done after he retired.
The David Letterman show? No.
No.
But
But he did one with
the
Howard.
Netflix
He would
series.
do like an interview, and
Yeah.
then he would do an activity with that person.
Yeah.
So
He initiated all that, like the next thing, like the Conan O'Brien and doing something.
Okay.
Well, it started
So-
with Steve Allen show.
Yeah.
He took the Steve Allen show to the next level.
he
Who's
would do.
Steve
He's
Allen?
doing this thing where he interviews someone that he really admires. Like, I want to interview someone that I like.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
Take it to the next level.
And then he does an activity with them after the interview. They can do
Because
something.
it's like he's not interviewing them. It's like it's his friend that he wants to talk to. You know what I mean? It's got a good vibe.
But
It
the
really
funny
does.
thing I like is he interviewed Howard Stern.
Yes.
And Howard Stern is
Really?
very is a recluse and is kind of reluctant to do anything. Howard Stern
Netflix
came and
show.
did the interview, and it
How
was
long
great.
ago was that?
The
Well, a few
Netflix
years
show.
ago. A few
How
years
long-
ago.
a few years
But then
ago?
he was like, "We're gonna go horseback riding the next day." And Howard Stern did not show up. He didn't come. And then so they just cut to like the next day, and Dave's like, "Well, we're here. We're horseback riding. Howard's not coming." Like,
So where did
whatever.
they interview him? Like, what? The first day? Where was that?
He has like
It was
a
like on a little like on a stage.
Yeah.
That was it. And then he just
It was
didn't
like,
show up.
yeah.
And then they
Okay.
branch out and do things. Yeah, the one with
So-
Robert Downey Jr. was really good too.
He's done a bunch of and he was like, "I only want to interview people I really want to talk to."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't."
So
It's
Howard
good- it's
Stern
like-
didn't show up. It was just
He
day
inter-
one. That was it.
He interviewed Howard Stern. They did an interview on a soundstage, And then the next day was they were supposed to go horseback riding.
Oh,
yeah. He didn't show up for the horseback.
And Howard Stern just did the horseback.
Show up.
That's what I was curious about.
The comedians and Cars and Coffee with Howard Stern was good too. But yeah, like David Letterman did the David Letterman show for so long, and like the network told him basically who he had to talk to. So now to your point, like he's retired, and hello, I'm Dave Letterman. I'm talking to people I want to talk to.
All right, so let's do this. So
I'm not talking.
We all had our own beer, and we had one that was a cider.
No. We're gonna do this at the end.
We're all talking about streaming.
I thought we were gonna stream this. We're
gonna do
this over.
We're gonna
link this to the.
All right, we're gonna go and do our What's Streaming episode segment now.
My bad. I thought we were gonna.
Sorry. Yeah.
Link this to the first half.
We're gonna do that at the end.
That makes sense. I am wrong.
It's just you. Okay, guys, listen. Nope, we're doing that last. Remember, we said that right.
I thought you guys said let's
sangria.
People into the second episode. But okay.
All right, this is called Cutting Room Floor right here.
We're gonna review the certain wines we've tried.
What is sign language? Can you describe that for me?
All right, so what are we going next? What are we streaming?
All right, everybody, we're gonna do our What's Streaming segment now.
Baby,
I'm sure.
Mine's short and sweet.
I'm so glad I learned sign language. It's coming very handy.
That's what she said.
Oh, you know what I just realized?
What's up?
The little audio clips, the transition clips that I use. I'm not gonna be able to edit them in. What's streaming? We'll have to do it live. Thank you.
So on my end, I have a little video from Prime.
We're gonna go with Wiggy.
I like big videos.
I'm gonna take.
I prefer big videos.
Wait, is Wiggy here or is his brother here? Because he's acting like his brother right now.
He's acting like Wiggy.
I just hope Wiggy picks a show that he actually likes.
Oh, when I mean his brother, I don't mean his brother.
This is the Wiggy I know.
Older brother.
I know
this
who you mean.
Wiggy I know.
Yeah.
This is the Wiggy that we shot.
How could I be
in a snowstorm?
All right, Wiggy, take it away. Let's go.
It's gonna be short because as usual, the Wiggy way is I know a lot about a show, and all of a sudden I don't say much about it.
And then you don't know anything, and you get words.
Please don't tell me. It's like
there's this thing.
No, say it because you were gonna nail it perfectly.
There's this thing called it's the thing.
Sign language.
No, you watch things on it. It's called a
television.
Yes, television.
So my show is on Prime Video.
Just please be a show that you like.
No, yeah,
it is.
He has great taste.
It is.
No,
actually, there's going to be a lot of people. There is going to be a segment. There is going to be a segment that likes this, and it's called "First to the Moon."
Astronauts.
Journey to Apollo 8.
Is that the segment that's going to like it?
If you've seen it, it is really, really good.
What is it called?
Footage of it. It's First to the Moon, Journey of Apollo 8.
Oh, no way.
It's the 3 astronauts from America. They tried to beat, technically, the reason why they pushed to have this done was to beat the other country, Russia, and all that.
Sputnik.
There was so much going on at the time. There was the Vietnam War. There was like civil rights and stuff.
Have you read The Right Stuff? Tom Wolfe?
He didn't read
Don
Quixote.
He did not read Don Quixote.
What does read mean?
Did you read,
it's where you
have you read Don Quixote?
It's got pages. It's got pages in it with numbers.
So they wanted to get to them, get out there. They wanted to be the first.
Yes.
The USA wanted to be the first.
Well, they weren't the first.
Well, they were because they were the first
Sputnik
to.
was the first to space.
Well, fuck.
And then they shot a monkey up there, which was like a slap in the face. They shot a monkey up there, which was a slap in the face to the humans, and then they finally got to the humans.
All right, so this was the first set of 3 people that went out to outer space. They left our orbit, and they went out and around the moon and back. And their names are Jim Lovell, Bill Anders, and Frank Borman. And the whole footage was just amazing because they were taking footage from the rising of the Earth
Jim Lovell was
Behind-
was in the Mercury program, I believe.
behind the moon. So this wasn't expected, this wasn't planned, but like to see the Earth rising behind the moon.
So is this a
absolutely
documentary?
amazing. It was a documentary, but
Oh,
like
cool.
amazing footage.
That's
from those
that's really
people,
cool. So
and-
3 people that you don't hear about, because you hear about the Mercury, Alan Shepard
Yeah.
being the first to the moon, or being the first in orbit outer space, but these are the guys that
You hear-
pioneered it that you don't hear about.
Bingo.
And Jim
Bingo,
Lovell
bingo.
actually became, I believe, a Mercury astronaut that actually was involved in the actual what they knew about.
It's funny that you say that, and this might give something away of our location here, but we are in the former, like, grounds of Admiral Farragut.
Admiral who?
Admiral Farragut,
Okay.
that was a naval academy
Okay.
here, this land,
Okay.
where Alan Shepard went.
Wait,
Alan
is that-
Shepard went to Admiral Farragut.
Is that
Yes.
the email address of
Farragut.
Zach Garrett?
Farragut. That's no kidding.
Ben Stiller, Farragut.
You ever see?
69.
You ever see? I mean, The Right Stuff, which was a book that Tom Wolfe wrote, and it's probably one of my favorite all-time movies.
So that's cool. Who went here?
Alan Shepard.
Alan Shepard,
It was
the first in space, the first of the Mercury
it was
astronauts.
like a cadet academy on the
He was a
water. It was
Navy.
like a high school for
He was a Navy
where
pilot.
where you
Yeah,
lived.
I remember somebody that went there.
That's
So,
amazing. I didn't know that
Alan
Alan
Shepard
Shepard
in the
went there.
40s.
But still, like,
Right.
yeah, I didn't. That's
Well,
amazing.
anyway,
That's
so
really
this
interesting. Thank you, Cal.
this documentary goes over a
Strap.
lot, and they're both not both, but they all 3 had to be like qualified for their jobs.
It's
and,
insane the process
yeah,
that
the
they have to go
process
through.
they had to be like military, and they had to
And
do
this was like the 60s.
and even amongst themselves, the 3 of them, they were like not
torture
fighting amongst
torture
themselves,
tests.
but they were like joking around, like, "Hey, he couldn't handle the spin thing where
And it's
every one of us would just
core.
pass
They
out."
call it like the
I've
puke
been on
tank
mission
and shit
space.
like that.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
crazy.
That actually, this, and I'm gonna end this with this and pass it on to somebody else.
How many
in our
episodes
cast.
is it?
It's 3, and I'm gonna pass.
you spit too.
I know, but
Guess I'm
you
returning
learn
that.
so much,
Yeah.
and it's just so amazing.
Yeah,
for what they went
the
through.
process that they
Yeah.
have. You would
And
love.
the timing, like the timing.
You got to watch The Right Stuff, the movie The Right
I
Stuff.
refuse to watch
It's
that.
an
I will never
amazing
watch that. and
depiction
I will
of what
set it
they
on
went
fire.
Well, that
If I
was
ever watched
very
it.
good, Wiggy.
Yes,
Thank
thank,
you for
you.
that.
My
That's
name is Wiggy Wiggy.
So,
Sponsored by Shane.
Did you ever see the movie The First Man?
No.
It's a movie about Neil Armstrong. Ryan
No way.
Gosling as Neil Armstrong.
People
that
say
came
that I
out
look
not
like
that-
Ryan Gosling.
Yes, he does.
Can you guys reply on this video broadcast?
That came out not too long
Do I-
ago, right? Obviously, like
Yeah, it's
5
pretty
years
new.
ago or
Like
something
Ryan
like that.
Gosling.
Yeah,
And what-
2018.
So he's Neil
I think it's
Armstrong?
Ryan.
Yes,
Really?
Yeah.
You look like Brian.
Did you see
Gosling.
it?
I did.
Is
It's
it-
Who looks
Okay.
nothing like Ryan Gosling.
it's
Brian Gosling, the
it's
balding
pretty good. It's
Ryan
good.
Gosling.
It's not.
Ladies, hit me up.
It's
So
not Right Stuff
well-
quality.
you know. The
Well, you guys
director
are
of this movie had done a movie right before that called Whiplash. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
The
Yeah.
drummer?
Drummer. Oh, I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
I always wanted to
It's
see
phenomenal.
that.
I thought it was a great movie, and this was his like one of his follow-up movies
Yeah. Okay.
to it. So, and then he also did La La Land, which I love La La Land. I love that
What?
movie, La La Land.
Yeah. well,
Yeah,
Really?
I get it for what it is.
I
For
like
what
it.
it is.
I think it, I thought
Yeah,
it was good.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
So-
He dances really well.
It's
in
not
it, so.
my.
I do
It's
so.
not something I would
Ryan
use.
Gosling
He can
also?
sing. He can sing and
I know.
dance.
You were in that
Yeah.
one too, right?
I was upset.
You were also in that movie with Michael Scott, Steve Carell, and
Sangria.
Emma.
Oh, I know you're
I
talking
know. What
about.
I can't remember the name
Some
of
Love.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
That was a great
that was
movie.
drama.
Crazy Stupid
Stupid
Love.
Love.
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
lot of drama. I punched somebody in that. I didn't really like it, but I
You
had
didn't
to.
like that?
Hard
What was it
action.
like working
No, I
with
didn't
that
like punching
Australian guy?
somebody.
What was that movie
He was
where
in
like
the
the
movie.
Australian
I
guy?
like-
It
I
was
like
a
the
comedy.
punch.
You played a detective. It was really good. It's really it was
All right.
really good.
So, Creature,
right.
what do you got?
My show that I stream.
Can I go real quick? I'm going to talk about the show
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Banshee.
go ahead.
I'm kidding.
Oh.
Mine was supposed to be quick. I'm sorry.
Okay, you
That
got
was
me
a good
too.
one. Yeah, Banshee. If you know it, you know.
It was supposed to be really quick.
It's quite possibly one of the most underrated show of the mid-2000s. It got kind of lost. It was on Cinemax. 38 episodes.
Skinamax?
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to rebrand themselves because they're an HBO company. And they had a revival of some shows.
We should do that for the whole podcast. And then just
every time I say something,
really
he's got to
Gosling.
steal the thunder
I'm just gonna edit
and
in
take it away from
a
me.
Kane banner over him the entire time.
you should superimpose Ryan Gosling's face.
Deep fake. What is that noise?
I was trying to.
How do you possibly make that noise?
It was.
What's happening?
It was the
Unbelievable.
not allowing to be a shootout.
It's Creature has to say something, so Dave.
I thought he was being
Look at him.
I just farted.
Hear me.
All right, I'm up.
Dave had like a trach that was
So to what you said, yeah, it's like Skinamax. They started to remake themselves because HBO had such a success. Doesn't matter.
Does that say creature?
It says clutch.
Oh.
I was there when he got it. He cried like a little bitch.
It is. It's painful.
He cried like a little.
We promote clutch.
He cried because it
He
doesn't
cried
look
like a
it
Ryan
says clutch.
Gosling. Little Gosling.
I thought it said
Sorry.
creature. Wow, that's good.
I
you
told you
want-
I'm awesome. He
We have to
tattooed him.
tell that story of creature.
That's first far.
There's
All
definitely
right, come on, we can
9%.
make it through this, guys.
All right,
Let's do it.
so
I'm trying, man. So
No, I
you
know,
said,
I
like
know.
you said, Skinamax, and yeah, this was like around the time because they're an HBO company, and HBO had all their successes with all their dramas, and on Friday nights they released like a bunch of shows. It's 38 episodes that aired of the show Banshee from 2013 to 2016, and it was one of those shows we've talked about in previous episodes where it was always in threat of, was this going to be the last season? Is it going to be renewed? And there was a lot from 2013 to 2016, 3 years. They only released 38 episodes. There was a lot of time waiting and waiting and waiting. And since it's been picked up by HBO Max, it's gained another following. And people are realizing how amazing this show actually
So
is.
they don't have any new episodes.
No new episodes. And the final season, the fourth season, was kind of like they were granted that, like, here's your bone, tie everything together, we're giving you this.
Okay.
So there's a lot of themes in that,
that was
in topics. 2016. That were kind of like, they needed a season to expand on, so it was kind of rushed. But I've watched the show 4 times, including the original watching it when it first was released.
Like
It's
4
a-
times repeated.
Four times.
And how many
Entire
episodes?
38.
You've watched
Wow.
it, so you really like it.
I've seen The Sopranos 8 times
Jesus.
from beginning
I've
to
seen The
end.
Sopranos.
But it's an amazing.
3 times.
I am a comic book fan, and I'm not talking like the
You don't
Marvel.
watch shows over and over
I've
again?
never watched.
You've never
No,
rewatched the show?
no.
I've never watched a show over again.
Dexter?
Even though I really liked it, but
You've never repeated and
No.
watched it
What?
from beginning to end? Really?
like another show, like once I watched
Dexter,
it,
Sopranos,
That's it.
So-
Ozark. Oh my god, I've
No.
watched Ozark
Like
about
4
4 times.
So
Oh my
let me ask you a question.
No?
you-
Office. I know you.
Well, I don't
Is
really.
it
sorry.
like I've seen episodes of The Simpsons?
what
multiple
have
times?
you watched ever over?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Like,
Nothing?
I'll watch movies again
Movies,
that I like.
yeah, I'll watch movies.
But we're talking
never
TV
watched
But
shows.
I've
Series?
never,
gone back and watched.
I've
the
never
whole-
rewatched
No
the show I
kidding.
streamed.
Kidding.
But I'm
Star
wondering,
Blazers?
like,
What?
Star Blazers, maybe. Oh, maybe when I was a kid.
no, like,
Oh,
you
no.
rewatch. So,
Remember Star Blazers?
Hey, everybody.
but
What?
The Sopranos is
You know
so
what Star Blazers is?
The
Sopranos is so long.
No.
it's long. Breaking Bad is like long.
Breaking Bad about 4 times. I've
Really?
watched Breaking Bad 4
It's
Yeah.
a
times.
great show.
Yeah, I've seen it
Uh,
5 times.
What's the last one called? Just
Better Call Saul.
No, the extended version thing.
The movie?
With just
movie.
Jesse.
El Camino.
El Camino. I've watched that like 3 times.
Let me ask you a question.
You have not watched all those? Like
I've watched them once.
Oh,
All of them once.
love it.
Now let me ask you a question. On repeat,
And I still don't remember the name of any of them.
on repeated viewings, does it like add to it?
No, it's just so much fun.
I like this
No, it
little
doesn't add
tangent,
to
by
it.
the way. This
No,
is
you're
awesome.
like, I picked up things I didn't see the first time.
Maybe a little bit, but you know me.
You're
You
not
know
selling
Wiggy.
it. You're not selling it then for me to watch it again.
You know?
I don't
I'm with
understand
you.
why you don't watch it more than once.
That's
Creature.
Dave.
Banshee, what you got? Banshee.
I just want to find one thing that I forgot to look up. But anyway.
So
So
you
anyway,
watch
so
it
back to what we were
multiple
saying.
times.
I've
Yeah.
seen it.
What is it about?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So I am a huge comic book fan, but I'm not talking like the Marvel crap. Disney. I hate. I haven't watched anything Disney since.
I actually like
what's the
those
one with
things.
the Beauty and the Beast? I haven't stopped it. I hate Disney. I despise them. They're the worst company ever. Anyway, but
What?
We just lost.
so
like,
anyway.
Disney? What? Oh.
We just lost our sponsorship.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. Sorry, Disney, you stink.
Oh my God.
Beauty and
but,
the Beast is amazing.
You're
Pedro
horrible.
Pascal,
You're ruining
like, he doesn't know what
America.
he's
You're
talking
ruining
about.
the country with your awful
One of the first girls I
gentrification of
dated.
everything, soiling it. I'm so happy, despise that you
all right,
own the
Banshee,
Simpsons.
Banshee,
Anyway,
wow.
so yeah.
Target.
So yeah,
Stay
thank
on
you.
target.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Stay on
you.
target.
Thank you.
Make sure we edit
so-
out all the Disney stuff.
I am in the vein, like, it's very, the way the show is, how I would describe it, it's like a graphic novel, but it was bespoke written. It's not an interpretation of. It's written for the screen in the vein of like an Alan Moore. If you're familiar with Alan Moore, he wrote The Watchmen. He wrote V for Vendetta. He came out with the original graphic novels to that. I'm a huge Garth Ennis fan. He did Preacher, not the crappy show that came out, but the actual books. And basically, the story starts out with a man before I continue, yeah. It's starring, its lead actor is Anthony Starr, who's famous for playing Homelander in The Boys. And it also has Matt Servito. He was Agent Dwight Harris in The
Wait, do you
Sopranos.
actually like this show?
I love it.
Oh.
It's great. It's phenomenal.
All right, just
What's it
Talk
about?
about it.
What's it about?
I'm getting there.
no, just talk about it.
So anyway, so the show's about a guy. It opens with him literally in black and white, stepping out of prison
Bingo.
into
Let's talk
freedom.
about
And he's a prisoner. All right, he gets
Okay.
out of jail, and what he wants to do, he wants to go find the girl. Find the girl. Okay, you don't know how long he's been in. You don't know anything.
He wants to find this people.
This people.
So he's been in jail a while, and if you watch the show, it turns out he's been away for
What happened to you, man?
I will
been
say
away for
something.
I don't know if
15
Wiggy
years.
can drive his bike home.
He's been away for 15 years, that you find
You will
out
find
later
a
on
way.
in the show. Okay, so he tracks it down to a town called Banshee, Pennsylvania. Okay, so he's on a motorcycle. One of the a phenomenal scene in New York, action scene in New York. The show is renowned for its choreographed fight scenes and chase scenes. It's really ground.
Are we talking
really
about like
groundbreaking
John Wick?
stuff.
Wickish fight scenes?
Very much so.
Oh, good.
John
I
Wick.
love John Wick.
I
wish I could be John Wick and play guitar.
Lucas Hood, the prisoner, would probably defeat John Wick in a fight. The character in this, it's very John Wick. It's very action oriented.
I don't know who John Wick is.
I know you don't. So
you
he
kidding me?
tracks a girl. That's another story for another day.
Just keep going.
So he arrives in Banshee, Pennsylvania on a motorcycle just to stop off.
Wait,
to
you're
find the
not
girl.
going through the entire
No,
show from the- okay.
no, not at all. So he goes in, gets a drink. I'm giving you the premise of the show. So he goes in, gets a drink. He's involved in a fight where the new sheriff in town, he hasn't been sworn in yet, he's not the sheriff yet, is at the bar. So he gets a drink, gets in a fight where the sheriff gets murdered. He's panicked, and he's just out of prison, so he kind of steals the guy's wallet and becomes the new sheriff.
Okay.
And then you introduce to the character, he's introduced, the way I'm saying it is going to sound like it's ridiculous, but trust me, it's worth a watch. He meets Job, who is a legendary, believe it or not, he's a drag queen, but he's also a world-renowned hacker, like a legendary hacker who's hacked into businesses. And he helps.
Boring. Now we know why you like the show. And I don't mean the hacker.
Yeah,
part.
you know what I'm saying. And so he becomes Lucas Hood. Is the name of the
very like I want to hear more John Wickish.
I still don't know.
When he gets out of prison, he goes back to New York, where he was the boss. He worked for a Ukrainian criminal named Rabbit.
Sum it up.
Who was a, and there's a scene where.
Maybe it's a great show, but
so
sum it up.
Yeah, is he like a
you
vigilante?
dropped me off track.
Is he a vigilante or
no?
Is the whole show in black and white?
No.
Good.
No.
Is the whole show as horrible as you said?
Because I wouldn't be able to get past that if it was.
It's full color, and it's a graphic novel come to life on the screen.
Okay.
So,
go ahead. So he's a trained. He turns out he's a trained. He's an infiltration specialist. He's a thief, and he actually got screwed over by this guy Rabbit. Put him into jail for 15 years. Comes back to Banshee to find the girl Anna, Rabbit's daughter. Finds out that she's married to the DA with a daughter who's 15 years old.
All right. So The Office.
And
Jim and Pam.
It's the fight sequences. The second or third episode, he fights an MMA fighter.
Like Michael
And it's one of
Scott?
those brutal fights you'll ever see. Rips the guy's hand in half, cracks his feet up.
I don't need to see that.
But it's
so
then it's your detriment for not watching.
Okay, he's like a
show.
superhero.
No, that's
He's
the
just
thing.
an
No,
infiltrator.
he's just a guy.
He's a vigilante.
No,
Is he like John Wick?
yes.
So he's just the guy's like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own thing.
He becomes this character, Lucas Hood.
Is he like
you never find out what the guy's real name is.
Punisher?
Yes, like the Punisher.
Okay.
But it's not. And it deals with...
Like Rambo.
It deals with... yes, like Rambo.
Okay.
But
Is
he's
there
not.
anyone that
he's
he's
just...
not?
He's a guy.
Is he like the Terminator?
Yes,
but
he is. Yes, he is. And then I'm not even getting into the side character of Proctor, who's an ex-communicated Amish person who's the local drug lord, who has a niece that was and they have a sense of humor about themselves. Where
I'm not even talking about the locksmith that's in Mennonite.
It's got an 8.4 rate. It's got an 8.4.
If you lost interest,
it's got an 8.
Find Wiggy, because you know where
It's
to
got
find
an
Wiggy.
8. How do you do this to me? It's an 8.
Because I've never heard of something.
But I want to ask you.
It's an 8.4 rating out of 104,000 reviews on IMDb.
Okay.
No, they're all interesting.
That's pretty good. That's high.
So
That's pretty good.
Promoting the fact that they're all interesting.
You're asking me, is he like Rambo? Yeah, it is. But it's not.
But you were talking about graphic novels.
Yes.
And like I watched the what we talk about, the Watchmen.
Yeah.
The series.
It's terrible.
The series, you didn't like that series?
Compared to the graphic novel, Alan Moore.
I thought that series was great.
But it was a future version.
I know, it was great.
But Alan Moore was the guy who came up with the universe of the Watchmen.
So you didn't like the Watchmen, the series?
It was okay. I'm a Regina King fan all the way.
Uh-huh.
But I got to give it another chance because I was coming into it.
Did you like the movie version?
It was okay.
Of it?
It was okay.
Okay.
They changed a few, but if you read
besides Banshee, have there been any graphic novel like
interpretations
that you liked?
Road to Perdition was amazing.
That was a graphic novel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a pretty accurate one.
Because I read The Watchmen.
Yeah.
Right before.
Oh, you read the book, the actual graphic
the comic.
novel.
I read the whole thing right before the movie came out to see it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty close.
That's what I get. It's pretty close, but
flex.
It's not.
Sorry. So Banshee, you think is a great interpretation of a graphic novel?
That's what I'm saying. It's not an interpretation.
So if you like graphic novels,
let's put it to you way. If Alan Moore
let us know what you want to talk about.
Had nothing to do and wrote a
most
book.
people have no interest in what these two people are talking about.
All right. Well,
all right.
You can edit.
Maybe they do, but I'm going to admit because I know things. and the things I know are say my name.
Hammered and being
Okay.
jerked.
And nobody
Well, thank
cares
you,
about this.
But
Creature.
to
That
answer your
sounds
question,
interesting.
if Alan Moore didn't
Possibly this interests people.
do
and maybe it
a
doesn't.
graphic novel like from book to screen, and he just had open to do a graphic novel type story made for TV.
So Creature
is
started with
what
a
it's
beer we
like.
didn't care about, and he ended with a comment we
He
didn't
didn't
care
even
about.
start with a beer. It was
You
a
know,
cider.
He also
All right,
rode here
all
on
right.
a bike
Hey.
we didn't care about.
Thank you, Wiggy.
You know,
Thank
man,
you for
see
your
later.
Yes.
your input.
See you later.
He's going upstairs.
I'm going home.
Whoa, don't go
Come
home.
on, man.
Come on,
Come back.
Creature.
Yeah, man.
Here's
I'm-
Now end. Pause.
This episode of Bros on Beers is brought to you by the LifeScapes YouTube channel.
That's what she
All
said.
right, so thank you, Creature. That was a great breakdown.
Oh.
Banshee.
Banshee will have to check that out. I know Wiggy's looking forward to that.
Excellente. Yeah.
All right, so Strat, what do you got?
So I've been watching Shrinking on Apple TV Plus.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
what's
series.
that?
So
Now he's gonna
it's
do
a
this.
collaboration. I don't know if anyone watches Ted Lasso, but the creator of Ted Lasso, Bill Lawrence, and the writer Brett Goldstein,
Created
Jason Segel. Oh yeah, that's right. Jason Segel.
That's it.
So
Who's also Freaks and Geeks,
Freaks and
right?
Geeks. I know it all comes back to Freaks
Yeah.
and Geeks. You know, forgetting Sarah Marshall, and also the second greatest Muppet movie, The Muppets.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, I'll
you know
I'll give you that.
accept that.
that's a Disney movie, by the way.
I know.
Gotcha.
I took over the Muppets too.
So,
Everything
so
from my childhood.
the whole premise of it, it's kind of like a dramedy, what they would say, but
Yeah.
it's a comedy, but there's some
It's real life.
serious issues in it,
It's
and
real
like some
life.
like hardcore
Yeah.
issues. So it's about Jimmy is played by Jason Segel. He's a therapist. I don't know. They don't really say if he's a psychiatrist or a psychologist or,
Right.
or
A talk doctor or a medicine doctor.
right, but and he is been shut off. Like for the past year, he's been just shut off. He tragically lost his wife. So his wife has died, and he is
Recently.
just about a year ago.
Yeah,
and he's
okay.
been shut off, and like he's kind of been checked out
Yeah.
for the past year,
Yeah.
and now he's like doing some, I would say, unorthodox and unethical treatment methods with his patients.
Kind of like
basically
in that
just
gray
telling his
area
patients
loophole.
what he thinks. Like your
You're a dick.
your husband's a dick. You
Like
should
you.
leave him. Like type of like therapy.
Okay.
And
Don't even remember.
so it's a great ensemble cast. You guys keep it together.
Oh my god.
So he's kind of checked out. He's got a teenage daughter who basically their next door neighbors raised the daughter during this time that he was checked out. So he's a therapist. He's got a couple coworkers he's really close with. He is great in it. Like he does some kind of horrible things, but as an actor, he's such a likable person that you kind of like forgive him for this.
Gotcha.
But the standout star of this show is Jimmy's boss,
Harrison Ford.
No kidding.
Now he plays. Now everyone has like so. Jimmy lost his wife. He's kind of grieving, but now he's trying to get his life back together and take care of his daughter and kind of get his professional life back together. Harrison Ford plays the boss of this whole therapy group, but he's also suffering from Parkinson's disease. So he's trying to deal with that, and he's pretty functional now, but he knows down the road that things might not be that way. And then it also comes with his coworker Gabby, who's going through a divorce. Jimmy's becoming entangled with the lives of his patients. He has a patient now living in his house with him, who's like a Vietnam or a war vet, like an Iraq war vet that like couldn't keep his stuff together.
Kind of.
Yeah, he kept getting fights. Fights with everyone.
Yeah,
and now he's
troubled.
So, and then there's also the next door neighbors. That's like they have like an empty nest syndrome, and they kind of took in Jimmy's daughter to like kind of parent her.
Like a character study, if you will.
Yeah, it's like a great ensemble cast. But one of the is Jefferson from Married with Children.
Oh no way! He was also in
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds and Happy Days. He's one of the. He's like considered like the jump the
like
shark
the
character of.
So
what is his name? I got it pictured in my head. He's got a sweater with a sweater around his shoulders.
So it's funny. A great show. I recommend it. It's definitely
I kept seeing the ads for it.
And what channel is this on?
It's on Apple TV Plus.
Really?
So if you have an iPhone or an iPad,
and is this the first
a lot of times you get 6 months free.
I'm sorry if you said it, but
first
it's
season,
the first season.
Yeah, it's been
complete, like all the way.
We're at the 9th episode, 10th episode airs. The final episode airs.
So 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Harrison Ford is like kind of like a curmudgeon, but he's also at times really silly.
I mean, he was Han Solo.
So,
you know what I mean? So
it's also a great show. I highly recommend it. You know, I know I'm surprised no one here watches Ted Lasso.
I haven't had a chance to watch it for some reason.
But I didn't know this.
But I loved it from Saturday Night Live.
I think you got to stick with it.
Yeah.
What's the lead character's name in Lasso?
Ted.
He was from the actor.
Jason Sudeikis.
Thank you. I followed him from SNL.
So I didn't know this till today that one of the writers or creators of Ted Lasso is also a writer on this.
Yeah.
Two of the creators, but one of them is also the actor, and he plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. I didn't know that. He's also. Apparently, he's going to be Hercules in one of the Marvel movies.
Hercules.
Yeah. So apparently, at the end of one of the last Thor movie, there was like a little cutscene at the end, and it showed him as Hercules.
Yeah. And you mentioned Bill Lawrence, and Scrubs is like my all-time
Bill
favorite
Lawrence is one of the writers, but the guy that's also Roy Kent is what's his name?
Yeah.
Brett Goldstein.
Okay, that name rings a bell. Actually,
Brett Goldstein.
Brett Michaels.
That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out.
Poison.
Yeah. All right.
Every rose
has its thorns.
All right. Well, so I have.
So I would rate Shrinking a good 4.5 out of 5.
Not a creature 5 out of 5.
No.
No, that's just for beer and ciders.
And if you watch one episode,
cider.
I would watch the episode where Harrison Ford takes gummies.
Nice. And just Tulsa King, there was a scene where Sylvester Stallone has some cannabis apricot and smokes a joint, and it's brilliant. And I want to see Harrison Ford. You sold me with that.
It's great. It's a great show. I can't wait for the 10th episode to come out.
All right, on.
Ted Lasso's great too. You got to give that a chance.
Mm-hmm. That second season's
all right. Well, I've got an Oscar threesome for you.
Oh, there we go.
We'll see if I get through all of them. But so I've watched 3 of the movies that were nominated for the Oscars. 2 of them recently. The first one, the one that won Best Picture, was Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this movie was kind of highly recommended to me by somebody that I work with, and the story is basically there's a woman who owns a laundromat, and they're not they're not doing well, or they're being audited by the IRS. So while they're being audited, she gets these like instructions to do something crazy, and she ends up basically like jumping into another dimension. So she does like follows these instructions and goes into another dimension. And what transpires is that basically she's able to like jump through different dimensions, different verses, and there's this like threat upon the universe basically by somebody that can like go through the multiverses, and they can kind of like do whatever they want. They know how to like harness the power from different multiverses. So there's this other group that can also do the same thing, and they're like trying to stop her basically. So she has to do all of this stuff and like basically try to defeat this person.
Wow, okay.
And it turns out that the person is her daughter.
Wow.
And she has this strange relationship with her daughter, and it kind of becomes this like, I don't know, it really hit home with me because I have teenage kids, and it becomes this story about her mom, the mom and the daughter, and how the daughter's basically gay, and her mom's like not really accepting of it, and she's trying to like, she doesn't want to tell her dad that she's gay, and
how do you
right, so
I have a young cousin going through
but
that.
at the end of the story, the mom's like, she's like constantly trying to do stuff for the daughter, and like she wants to be involved and whatever, and the daughter's just like, just leave me alone, like I don't want to just I want to do my thing,
right.
Leave me alone. And at the end, the mom's like, I'm always going to want to be there for you, and always going to want to help you and do stuff and love you, and that's the thing that kind of hits home. Like kids don't they want to like, especially teenagers, they want to like detach themselves and whatever. So I thought I think it's this like action-packed movie, and she can like pull different powers and like do stuff. But then there's also this like family element, and so it won Best Picture.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it won Best Picture because of the nature of it's a really complex movie.
It's a very unique story too, like with the different universes, and it's also it's her character, but it's also from the perspective, there's a part where it's the husband's character plays a part in it, and he's like, you think he's one way, but then the perspective is different, and you see, is he the hero? Is he, she's the hero?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I feel like it's a movie. There's no movie that's like it.
Yeah, it's very multifaceted in a lot of different ways.
Movie.
And I would say
I'm joking. I was going to say, and for a movie or even TV shows, it's not to deal with complex and multiple topics and multiple storylines, to actually make it come together in an hour and a half, 2.5 hours.
That's a
is
good
pretty
way to put
impressive.
it. Yeah, I mean,
like I was describing Banshee.
Like that. It does
it's
cover
so,
a lot.
There's
also the whole kindness thing.
Yeah.
Because at one point she figures out like, I'm gonna defeat these people by using kindness.
That's,
so
that's
she like
one
jumps
of the reasons
into somehow like gets into their mind and realizes what they want to be happy.
Yeah.
So she does that.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like leave her alone.
Yeah.
Like, so there's it's really a really complex, multifaceted movie. I felt like it. Like I said, it was highly recommended, so I had high expectations going into it, and I thought it was a little bit.
Expectation.
I thought it was a little slow at first, but it finally like catches up. And,
Yeah, sure.
You get it.
Because it has to build that story. That's what makes movie making so hard.
What
That's what she's.
Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, and she plays like the auditor.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh.
I watched it. Yeah.
Does she eat yogurt?
No, but she has hot dog fingers. You know?
Yeah, that was crazy.
One of the multiverses, everyone has hot dog fingers. It's fucking crazy.
It's really crazy.
It's a crazy movie.
I saw her in the
The
Halloween
funniest
movies.
I thought was the rocks.
Oh yeah.
The Rock?
So one of the great things
I don't
about
want
it
to talk about it too
is
He's in it?
not the rock.
the husband of the mother his name is Ke Hu Kwan, who is Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
$50 bill from the Goonies.
And he's from Goonies. Was it Data?
No, it's not.
Data, yeah.
Data from Goonies. That's really offensive, by the way.
That's how he says in the movie.
But what I thought was great is when they won this movie won the Oscar, and who announced the winner of the Oscar was Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that was cool.
So and he went up there and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" So Short Round and Indiana Jones were back in the.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely worth a watch. The other two movies I'll kind of go through quickly. One was it's called All That Breathes, and it was nominated for Best Documentary.
Okay, I need to watch that.
Yeah, this movie. It was like visually kind of beautiful.
What's the subject?
Flex, where did it play through? Was it like how can I find
HBO
that?
Max.
Yeah,
these two movies, All That Breathes.
Oh, they're on HBO Max?
Yeah,
Really?
Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not sure about that one, but
This one you're talking about, definitely.
All That Breathes is on HBO Max.
What's the subject in that?
So the subject is in India, in Delhi.
Okay.
There's a lot of smog and a lot of environmental pollution.
Yeah.
And
Mumbai.
these birds are dying. They're called kites. So
Paramount Plus, if you have that.
I have it. Yeah.
You can
Paramount
watch
Plus. Yeah.
everything all at once on Paramount Plus.
Cool.
So these birds,
I
these
have
kites.
an app called
Just watch.
I have it. We'll watch it.
Oxygen, and it's called I Can Breathe Everything.
So the movie's
It
about.
doesn't have to be at once.
I can drink everything all at once.
That's how you do it.
So the movie's about
What?
there's this air pollution and all this pollution in Delhi, and these kites are dying, and they're just like falling out of the sky, or they're getting hurt or whatever.
Kites?
Kites. The birds are called kites.
Kites.
They're like maybe hawks.
Okay.
You know.
Speaking of that, I got a giant red wing hawk was on my deck.
I think we're all
Really?
Yeah.
I once saw a hawk swoop and kill a seagull from like the sky and like knock it over.
Nice.
It was, and it like covered
got
it
them all
over.
around
My
already.
dad and I, when we first moved to Tom's River, we were just like, "Did you see that?"
It's right there.
You should look at Wiggy art.
See it?
Wiggy art is
Oh yeah! Wow, that's cool.
something that's gonna come out soon. And
Whoa!
we're gonna sell our art. And,
Hello, bird! Don't
Yes,
kill me.
It's like, thank God Oliver wasn't out there.
Your talons.
They just flew away.
Wow.
Okay, so anyway, back to the movie. So these kites are dropping out of the sky. They're getting
kites?
hurt, and they
No.
the Hindi population won't.
Why is he still
Treat
drinking
them.
beer?
That's what I always
Tomorrow
remember.
for tomorrow.
Smuff tomorrow. Smuff tomorrow.
Can I please finish?
Smuff tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry.
All
Sorry.
right, so the Hindi population, they're vegetarians, and these birds are carnivores, so they won't treat the birds because they're like, oh, they're carnivores. We're not going to treat them in the vet hospital.
Interesting.
Why would they
So-
treat him?
Because they're carnivores.
Because it's a religious thing. Like,
Right.
They're carnivores. We're not going to treat them. So these Muslim brothers start this hospital to treat these birds, and people are bringing them in constantly, and they're treating
And
them.
how does that relate to the religious people?
Well,
guess
so
the
it's
Muslims
funny
are
that you
not-
Is
say
that
that
part of the
because
story?
yeah, so it's funny that you say that because there's this whole other thing where the government institutes this law that they'll take refugees from other countries for any religion except Islam. They won't take Muslims. They won't take Muslims in. So
So
people
it's-
in Delhi start protesting, and then there are riots, and then like
The
then there's
irony
like
and
a
contradictions
then
of
there's
religion.
like a shoot to kill order that the police put out. So it becomes this crazy thing, and so there's this kind of story about these two brothers in their bird hospital. They're trying to get funding. They're trying to do more. They live in like a basement. Like it's not a great spot for them.
Sure.
And then there's the background of this whole the rioting and the religious
Right.
stuff
So
that's going on.
it's like a
So
commentary on
it's
religion, commentary on
a
social.
good movie. I was
Documentary, really?
yeah, it's a documentary. I was really into it, but the end is like it just kind of ends. Like the one brother goes to America to
Yeah, I
go to
got
school,
you.
and then it just kind of ends. And
But
I thought it was like weird.
disappointing.
Did this win best documentary?
No, it didn't win. But it was nominated.
What won?
A movie about the Russian, the guy that was poisoned and he's in like jail in Russia. I can't remember the name of it.
Speaking of Oscar movies and books, did anyone watch? And I think it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. One of them. All Quiet on the Western Front.
I have not.
No.
I've read the book and I've seen the original movies.
It was pretty good. It's
Right?
German. It's German.
Wait, what's the
the movie's in German.
There's a movie?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a movie. It's kind of like
place in World
very
War I.
like.
Well, I was wondering about that because there was already a movie called All Quiet on the Western Front.
So
Well, yeah, it was based on the book.
But
yeah.
I always thought that was from the Allied perspective.
No, it's from the German perspective.
Is
From
it
the
really?
German. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
World War One.
Yeah. World War One.
Oh, okay.
World War One.
Yes.
Okay.
Which
Which
And how was
everything
Yeah,
how
else.
was this
That's-
version? I've been meaning to
it
watch
was very good. It kind of like you
Wish
look
it
how
weren't for
pointless
that.
how pointless it was.
War is, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Especially that war.
and that war,
Because
Yeah,
they
that
fought
war
the
was
casualties.
crazy. That war was
the foxholes.
We're us, you're you.
No
we
one's
like you. We're
yeah,
gonna
we're gonna
fight you.
do this,
The-
we're gonna
right.
do that,
And
it went on
just
for-
win in the end.
and it went on
And
forever,
you stuck your
years
head
and
up.
years,
From-
and really all that changed was like a few 100 meters.
in the trench.
Either
the
way,
trench
that's
wars.
it.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
That's
let's
all it
just
accomplished.
settle nothing for Christmas.
The
and
And they, and
trenches.
they finally said, "Let's all right, we give up."
The
Like, we-
trenches
like,
were,
forget it.
were,
Let's go
were,
drink
were,
Forget it.
together
Let's
during
stop
Christmas.
doing.
were disgusting, disease infested.
Oh, so it was
cesspools.
great. There was one
Huh, yeah, I'll have to
person
check
in
that
it that I
out.
recognized.
Who's that?
His name is Daniel Bruhl.
He had
He was,
herpes, didn't he?
Was he the guy?
he was in the Quentin Tarantino
It's a
movie.
Oh, I thought we were doing
He,
something.
he was.
Glorious Bastards. He was like the German movie star in Glorious
Yes,
Bastards.
yes.
He was also in
one of the.
Captain America.
Yeah, he played.
Civil
yeah.
War.
That was one of
He
my.
was like the bad guy in that. That like
That's a Marvel movie I actually liked.
so.
Civil War.
Oh, okay.
He
great.
Wow.
So I watched it.
Good
It
one.
was dubbed in English, but it was done so well that
Wow.
like you didn't really couldn't even really
Really?
notice
You didn't do the subtitles
because it's so.
Well-
it didn't have the option. It automatically came with it dubbed in English, and it's such a
So,
war movie that
I'm
you
sorry.
don't see faces so much you can't see.
I'm sorry,
Did
Cal.
you get it from Blockbuster.
It was in German, the movie.
I'm sure it was.
And okay.
But on,
Yeah, it's a
but on
German movie.
Netflix, when you
Right.
stream it, it automatically you have to. If you want to do it in subtitles and in
Yeah.
German, you have to
Right.
change it to that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But the dubbing, you said the English
The
dubbing
dubbing
was
I
pretty
thought
good.
was pretty good that
Yeah.
I didn't notice,
Yeah, I'll check that out. That's
and I thought the soundtrack was awesome.
That's another one of those things I've been
Okay.
meaning
Like,
to
oh,
yeah,
watch.
that was I think that was probably second pick for because it won a bunch of awards.
Yeah, I was
too.
like, holy shit, this is winning it.
And the book is just
winning a lot.
amazing. The book is just
But war as hell. That's what.
Okay, so the third movie that I wanted to go over was called Banshees of
Heyo.
Inisherin. So
Say again?
Banshees of Inisherin. So this
I've
is
heard
it's
really good things about
it's
this
a movie that takes place in Ireland.
Okay.
It's good. It's okay.
Colin
like it's,
Farrell, right?
Yeah.
Colin Farrell and
It's,
Brendan Gleeson.
Wow.
Yeah,
I,
they were
I would
in
say like
Does
visually
anybody know that?
What was that movie they
visually
were in?
it's
That
a
was
very
amazing.
beautiful movie. It's like in Ireland, it's all green. It's got like really cool shots, like the shots from like behind the house and like people
Right.
walking. Like it's a really nice movie to watch visually. The story is like slow moving. It's basically about these two friends who don't. No, wait. I'm sorry. There's
sounds-
these two friends, and one guy just says, "I don't like you anymore" to the other one. And that's really kind of the basis of it. And it takes a while for you to kind of figure out why he says he doesn't like him, and then
and the one guy can't accept that too.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's like,
which
why
is
do you want to be friends
understandable.
with me?
Yeah, which is understandable. Like if two guys who are friends are suddenly like, I don't like you, and
Jesus,
You're on microphone.
then the one friend would be like, what happened? Like,
but
he's trying to
basically the
figure
one
it out.
guy.
But he won't let it go. He will not let it go. And
The one guy is like, I don't want to be friends anymore because I feel like our conversations go nowhere and you're just wasting my life being friends with you. It's just too dull. And I want to do other things with my life other than have these stupid conversations with you that go nowhere. And the other guy's kind of like,
Wait, what movie is this?
why don't you want to be
Banshees of Inisherin.
And the other guy's like, why don't you want to be friends with me? Like, you can't just not be friends with me. That's
How about
just...
this?
Which he's right. Like, but you shouldn't just like say, I'm cutting off complete ties. We've been friends for a long time, but I'm just not talking to you again. That just didn't make any sense.
Got you.
And so the other guy, he keeps badgering him, and the guy that doesn't want to be friends anymore is like, if you keep badgering me, like, I don't want to get into it, but he's like, I'm gonna do something extreme. So then he does something extreme, and then
it's fucking.
then that
No worries.
that extreme thing ends up affecting the other guy in a really bad way.
It's just terrible.
So then
terrible,
the first
terrible.
guy feels bad, and then the other guy is like, "No, you started this. It's not over."
So it becomes into like a War of the Roses kind of thing.
And
It's a depressing,
Yeah.
down
Irish
movie. You know.
I didn't think it was that depressing.
Oh my gosh, I was upset just for the guy. That one
Watch that
guy
astronaut movie.
plays the violin, and the things that he did, he couldn't. You know,
That was just crazy.
it's just nuts.
It's weird, but I don't know.
Well,
definitely of those three movies,
I know the big
I would-
appeal.
it would
Not
be the
that, but
third.
then
Big
there was
appeal to
also
this
the-
movie.
the who this person becomes friends with and what happens to him.
Yeah.
It's just nothing good happens
Well,
to
the big-
anyone in that.
The
movie.
big thing
You know
about
what?
this movie.
But I'll also say, like, this is kind of how Ireland is, and
So-
it's a reflection on Ireland. There's a lot of poverty and a lot of people don't have good
most
lives.
European
It was supposed to be
lifestyles, so-
symbolic of we talked about the Irish Civil War.
Yeah.
And the big thing about this movie was reuniting Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell because they were in that
Did you
movie
see
in
that on the
Bruges.
movie?
In Bruges?
Yeah.
Is
You
that
did?
good?
It's a great movie. It
Same
kind of like
director,
your
too,
movie,
right?
where you're like, the first time I saw it, I'm like, but seeing it again, it was like, wow, it's really a great movie. And it was the reuniting of those two.
Yeah,
It was like,
I saw that, yeah.
part two, in Bruges, part two.
So
you know?
that's my Oscar threesome there,
Cool.
which became a foursome.
We like threesomes.
So let's vote on our beer of the night.
Going back to the Oscars though, I definitely agree that Everything All at Once
Deserved
deserved the win. But I love Top Gun.
Oh,
I love
Everything
Top
All
Gun
at
Maverick.
Once.
I didn't see
That's
that.
the one with
Such
the
a great movie.
the Kung Fu woman. What's her name?
Yeah.
Susie.
Yeah.
No.
What's
Michelle-
her name? Yo.
What
Yo.
are you guys
Something
talking
Yo.
about?
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
I want to see that. Yes.
Great.
Now
Good
that
movie.
it's clicking.
That's a great
She's not a
movie.
kung fu.
Michelle Yeoh. Yeah,
Is she?
She worked with like
Oh,
Jackie
okay.
Chan.
She does
and
that
stuff.
in the movie.
She worked with
But
Jackie
yeah,
Chan.
I think she
She's
was in that
It-
Crouching Tiger,
it's-
Hidden Dragon.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
And she
okay.
has history with Jackie Chan in movies.
It's
She's like
also
it's
one of
a
the-
cool,
an action character in China.
But I just felt like it took a while to get going. But once
Gotcha.
it gets going, like it's
It is.
But that's
pretty
like that's
cool.
what's great. Like I was saying about like these movies that can condense all that into 2 hours or whatever it is and make it make sense. Because a lot of nowadays with shows like The Sopranos, people think you have like Banshee. It had 38 45-minute episodes to tell its story. That's
Yeah.
a long time to get a really intense, intricate story done well.
Yeah.
And like
That's-
people say,
that's
oh, it
why I
starts
think it
slow.
deserved-
Well, it's got a lot of story to build.
That's
You know
why
what I
think
mean?
it's so complex. Like
It was
when
a
she's
unique movie.
Yeah,
there's-
like
there's,
some
like they're
yeah.
fighting and like every frame they're changing what they're fighting.
Right.
And just to put
I
that
get you. I
together
know what
is
you're
like
saying.
so
Yeah.
complex.
And like you don't have 4 1-hour episodes to get your story started.
I feel like
Yeah.
You got a half hour.
The streaming thing is relatively new within the last 10 years. Like, you had shows like
HBO was
you had a season to complete.
Right.
With Oz.
Then there was
started,
like
and
Game
then the
of Thrones
Sopranos.
and Sopranos.
Did you get the feel of Ready Player One watching it too? The whole thing where like the way they jump.
How did you like that movie? I love that movie.
Yeah.
Ready
no, but
Player
I didn't really.
You didn't think that?
I didn't think that.
The way that they're in the van and they're like on the computer and they're like.
I hear you. Like, yeah, okay.
Anyway,
but yeah,
I got that feel.
Ready
too,
Player One was an amazing movie.
I just know it got good reviews, so we watched it a long time ago before it was like an Oscar contender.
Yeah,
before they had that. So
that movie got a lot of like on the social media thing.
Probably about a month ago, but my friend had told me about it. Like,
and you said it's on Paramount Plus as we speak.
Yep.
I'm watching it tomorrow.
We also watched that Banshees. I heard good things about that. You got all these good reviews. It's up for an Oscar.
Yeah, I heard
and I was like, I hate this movie.
Okay.
I hate this movie. It's just.
Oh wow!
I just felt terrible.
You actually hate the movie.
Yeah, I do not. I would
feel
not
confident
watch it again.
saying hate.
I just thought it was just such a downer. Like, I came out after watching it, I was like,
Yeah.
Like, I wish I hadn't seen that.
So it actually probably had the right effect.
Well, I don't know. I've lived in Ireland, so I.
Oh really?
I
How long?
A strong.
That's a story for another day.
A strong, connection to Ireland, and I just feel like.
You lived there, huh?
Well, for a year, for a year.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's just there's a show called Father Ted.
Yeah.
Ted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was hysterical. But it's about these priests that
Father Ted, was that a BBC show?
Yeah, it was a BBC show, but it was about a bunch of priests that lived on an island, and there's these situations in Ireland where they're living on islands. And,
it's the depressing place to live, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like you're not going anywhere.
You're isolated, and
it's a small island, and there's a
have some of your Jameson,
like Northern Ireland.
Have some Jameson.
So let's vote for our beer of the night. So we'll go over them again. So I had the Rusty Rail Brewing waffle sauce. It was a maple pecan imperial brown ale, 8%. Pretty good.
Yeah. If you like maple syrup. I had the Towns River Brewing St. John's Irish Red Ale, the flagship ale. It's a 4.9 APV. It's a
ABV.
ABV. I'm sorry.
ABV. Period.
It's a nice, crisp, medium body red ale. I like it. Crushable, drinkable.
Crushable?
Yeah. Crushable. Like, you can drink it, crush the can, drink another one. It's easy drinking. They say you can drink it on its own. I think it feels great with pizza.
Don't tell me how to drink my beers.
Or I drank it yesterday with corned beef and cabbage. It went great with that. I used it to cook the corned beef and cabbage.
Oh, nice.
This is what I poured in there.
Expensive corned beef and cabbage.
Corned beef and cabbage. Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's your favorite beer?
All right. What do you got, Creature? Creature, you're up.
Out of all.
No. What did you
talk about your cider? Take about your non-beer.
Just real quick.
Well, this is my favorite.
No. Just real quick.
Describe it.
Describe what you brought.
I brought. I'll take a better can out because I was.
That's what she said.
Ironbound original hard cider. Double Warfront Vim cider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Tell us about the Harrington apples.
Harrison apples.
Harrison apples.
That George Washington drank and ate when back in the days of when apples were invented.
Wiggy, what you got?
Wiggy has Last Wave with Defroster, 9%.
Winter Warmer.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's.
That's how you do it. That's
All right, so
how you do
I'll
it.
start. Okay, I am going to vote for the Toms River St. John's Irish Red Ale. I thought out of all of them, I think they all had flaws, but this was
Oh, they were.
this was definitely the best from my perspective.
I'm going to vote for this as well. Out of all the beers or non-beers that we drank tonight, this is the one that I would want to drink again.
I voted for the St. John's.
So, yeah, I would, if I had a flight of all the beers that we had today, I would choose this to get a pint.
That's a good way to look at it, right?
You guys are wrong.
Out of their flights of your beers, I would say, do you have Bass or Boddingtons on tap?
All right, Creature, what do you vote for?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would
No,
not.
we're not talking about these. We're talking about what you're voting for.
Oh, I'm definitely voting for my Iron Hound.
No, nobody wants that.
If I were going to
and
choose those beers,
Wiggy
no.
voted for the last
Froster.
wave. All right, so we got 2 for the St. John's, the last wave, and
Asbury Park. Greetings from
All
Asbury
right.
Park.
well, that was a great
Born to
episode.
run. Ironbound.
guys.
We
Thank
drink
you.
it. Love it.
Strat, Creature, Wiggy Wiggy,
Wiggy.
Wiggy out. All right, thanks everybody.
I love you, just so you know. You just piss me the fuck off. You're wrong. You shit on me every time I do something. That's the thing, I'm always wrong. It's really frustrating.